Hi, I'm Brendan Mills and welcome to episode 20 of Finance Coach TV, you and your business's finance coach. We continue on our journey with Qantas, no pun intended, with their being a travel business, an airline business. But today we're going to look at the third factor behind the demise of their company from a financial and also business perspective. So we've looked at complacency, we've looked at pricing, and the third factor we're going to look at today is again a byproduct of these. So as you'll notice as we go through these videos and these components is that they are all interrelated, and one is, there's no islands. All of them are independent on one another. Beg your pardon. They're all dependent on one another rather than being independent of one another. And today we're going to look at costing. So some staggering information came out regarding the costs for Qantas in comparison to competitors. So in the last 12 months, Qantas has struck up an alliance with Emirates Airlines. And during this alliance stage, they looked at the labour costs of the respective companies. Now, Qantas's average employee salary is $90,000. The average Emirates employee salary is $45,000. So it's very, very, very hard to compete if you're charging twice the amount for labour costs in comparison to a competitor. And based on information that's in the public vicinity, Qantas's costs are not reflective of their competitors. So I used Emirates as an example, but most of their competitors like Singapore, Cathay Pacific, etc., they're more aligned to Emirates' cost structure than the Qantas cost structure. So the thing that we need to understand as a business is, what are the costs of producing the outcomes that we provide our clients or our customers or our patients, depending on what type of business we're in? So we need to understand how much does it cost us to provide this outcome. We need to understand all the inputs which go into that, whether it's materials, whether it's labour, whether it's a combination of the two, like what we discussed recently with the body shapes of your business, whether it's a buy and sell, a value add, or a service business. So with the airlines, it's very hard to win when someone can do the same thing at half the cost. So again, learning from that perspective and also knowing that the rules that we have to deal with. And unfortunately for Qantas, they have to deal with some very draconian union legislation, and I'm not going to talk about unions in here, but keep it apolitical. But the point is they've got to have some very clever ways to get around the rules that they've signed up for a long period of time, which is going to make them basically zero competitive on a pricing structure with those other airlines. So the takeaway point for us in our business though is understand, what does it cost us to produce what we're producing? And then, like we discussed in the last episode, how can we then use those costs to get a good price, which is good for the customer, but also good for us as a business. So we're profitable, but also competitive. And we get this by a result of not being complacent. So those three factors that we've looked at, I know I've looked at it backwards, but there's a reason that we've done that. We need to understand our cost structure so we can price accurately, and doing that is a result of not being complacent. And I think Qantas is as much to blame for their own demise as anyone else. So as a result of that complacency and not planning. In the next episode, we're going to look at the last factors that I believe have resulted in their demise, and also what we can learn from that within our business. So hope you enjoyed the episode and look forward to seeing you in the next one.